Fake news, true story. A manual of escape from our American madness.
Chapter 2. Bear Mountain Bridge. How are wars started? By human beings. Which human beings? The ones with power. How do they get power? This is how. When I was 24, the powerful, seeing a reflection of their own bravado and loneliness in me, dangled their jewels and promises of glory, luring me into their dance in a world atop the world. My mentor, an avuncular figure named Smarty McDevitt's, consigliere emeritus to Rupert Murdoch, emperor of all media, gave me his blessing, his hands on my forehead, very old school, an anointing one could say, and told me, yes, hard to believe, that I would one day run News Corporation, the global conglomerate that owned a piece of everything. Was this plan genuine, or was I a pawn in a grand game? I asked no one, not even myself. Mr. McDevitt said I only had to follow his plan. The first step, serve as protégé to Roger Eugene Ailes, Emperor Rupert's most successful and powerful client, king, founder, and chairman of News Corporation's Fox News Channel, the most influential cable network in the United States, and by extension, the world. Ailes had helped at least 3 men become president of the United States. But his true power was not king-making, but king-preventing. Ailes ensured that at least 177 leading men and women never got their grubby paws on the desk in the Oval Office. He's as a doornail now, dead as Dickens, but during his prime, he was a legend. His real self, whatever that may have been, was obscured by a grandiose, mysterious, swirling aura of power and glory. His size shamed him. And yet extreme corpulence was intricately part of his persona and a key factor in his ascent to the pantheon of world historical power brokers. His bejowledness endowed him with a commanding presence, like Winston Churchill, Orson Welles, Henry VIII, Gerard Depardieu, or Cowboys Stadium. His globular wideness added to his narrative mystery, like the enigma of the moon, and this mystery gave him gravitational power.
Though prone to anger and impatience, he could also be quite jolly, living and laughing in a way that lean, treadmill-running individuals, for whom life is a constant stress test, cannot. This aura of jolliness surrounding a bitter, angry, and perhaps fearfully sad core made him absolutely mysterious, and hence ferociously powerful. Perhaps one of the most powerful, ferocious, and also fearful human beings of our era. One moment, you're rolling around in Versailles with a chambermaid, and the next, your head is rolling down the Champs-Élysées. It's all quite tenuous when you're large, living large, and yet still trying to tiptoe like, as Roger would say, some damn fool ballerina. So it proved for Roger Eugene Ailes.
Though prone to anger and impatience, he could also be quite jolly, living and laughing in a way that lean, treadmill-running individuals for whom life is a constant stress test cannot. This aura of jolliness surrounding a bitter, angry, and perhaps fearfully sad core made him absolutely mysterious and hence ferociously powerful, perhaps one of the most powerful, ferocious, and also fearful human beings of our era. One moment you're rolling around in Versailles with a chambermaid, and the next your head is rolling down the Champs-Élysées. It's all quite tenuous when you're large, living large, and yet still trying to tiptoe like, as Roger would say, some damn fool ballerina. So it proved for Roger Eugene Ailes. He had worked his way from college radio DJ to groundbreaking television producer to presidential strategy guru to chairman and founder of Emperor Rupert's Fox News, created to destroy rival warlord Ted Turner of CNN in the contest for control of a nation that once was a dream of freedom but had become a daymare of rerunning frustration. As Fox chairman, Roger also became the de facto chieftain of one of the nation's 2 permissible political parties, made some $21 million a year, lived on a mountain atop the world, bewitched the eyeballs of a portion of the nation, and conducted as best he thought he could by being as loud as he could and by fatly shoving others out of the way, the discordant symphony of American life. And then, after years of careful orchestration, after much effort keeping his players, the TV stars and politicians, in check, one of them, like a mad Viking warrior, stood up, threw down her gauntlet, or, more accurately, ripped out her microphone, said, "No more," and then the others began to rise, and soon no brakes could stop that train. The reckoning had arrived. Roger was pushed out of Fox News in public disgrace on a variety of never legally proven but publicly compelling sexual harassment charges, which theretofore a machine fueled by cash and threats had kept in the shadows of silence. For the majority of his career, Roger had been the Black Widow, scampering around and weaving crafty little narratives around all enemies, foreign or imagined. Suddenly, amid all that spinning and weaving and trapping, he was trapped in a narrative web out of which he could not escape, not even by eating it. He had created a nightmare trap, a web as intricate and baffling as the tessellations and geometries of M.C. Escher. And that trap caught a whole nation, including, in time, himself. And including, for a time, me. This is how I escaped. As Ailes Jr., as Roger called me, I was swiftly swept up in the big life, surrounded by beautiful women, flying on gilded private jets, eating danishes from a secret Danish closet, and learning the brightly dark art of power, how to gather it, how to magnify it, and, most essentially, how to keep it. In the whirlwind, I had neither time to think nor quarter to question. I had no respite to remember who I was or whom I might want to be. Until one fateful April Fool's Day 7 years ago, for reasons unknown to the world, and perhaps not entirely clear to me, I began my escape from Roger's web. It began with the Emperor's henchmen pursuing me in car chase through the Hudson Valley over the Bear Mountain Bridge and into an America I had never known. The day I gave up my faux fiefdom of princely Republican glory, I began to learn to live. Jack Kerouac wrote about traveling through the American night cross-country. This story is also about traveling through the American darkness, and incidentally, we both, Kerouac and I, escaped across the same bridge. As Kerouac stepped upon the Bear Mountain Bridge, leaving New York for the promise of the West, he was seeking the authentic from the start. I didn't know about the possibility of such a search until later. Kerouac started from the earth, looking at the stars. I started from what I thought was the top, looking down upon everything. The top. Here we go. We'll go to that Tower of Power on the Avenue of the Americas in New York, that capital city of the world. We'll board the elevator, and as we do, look who is getting off. See that skirt, see those legs, hear the news, and the Republic breaking all around us. But first, because all the noise and swirling are overtaking me, let's step away from that frenzy. Yes, let's step away and pour the hot rhetoric into a cooling saucer. I know this is heresy in our up-to-the-minute times, but let's first, just for a moment now, take a longer view and think.